Hi, everyone. My name is Anastasia. And today I'm super excited to welcome you at the very first podcast where we're going to discuss life. How many times in your life you had situations where you felt something, it was guiding you to act in a certain way, to do something, but then you neglected it and you simply decided to act as per logic. But then later on, you realize that the first feeling was the right one. And if you acted as per first feeling, your life would be a bit different right now. So today we are going to dive deeper into the causes of why we feel so much disconnected from our inner self, from our inner body, from our feelings. And I couldn't think about better person than my guest today, Anita Milovac.
Hello.
She is a new energetics and embodiment mentor.
Hi, Anastasia.
Anita.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really pleased to have you here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Please, can you present yourself so people can understand better?
Yes, of course. As you already said, I'm an energetics and embodiment mentor, coach, healer. And my predominant work is to really bring people into their sovereignty, to bring people into their own inner power. And that really goes along with the embodiment of our own energetic blueprint, the understanding of our psychological mechanisms, and the deconditioning of who we are not in our cultures and societies to actually really understand who we are. And that is, of course, a process that deals with trauma. It deals with a lot of situations that we encounter in life, not just in this lifetime, but in many others before that. So my role is basically to always guide you back to you.
Exactly. That's why I love what you're doing. And that's why what we're going to discuss further, I feel it's going to really help everyone else to get a little bit more connected to themselves, to understand the causes why it happened to us that we don't listen to our body. We're so many times just guided by our logic rather than feeling of our inner self. And the first and the most important topic which I want to discuss is the connection to our body. And you really know a lot about that.
Yes.
So the basics of how you can identify that you are connected or you're disconnected. Because, it's very easy to say, but then when you tap into that, how you can understand, is it really your body or that's your mind?
First, we need to go all the way back to when we were children, growing up, right? So you have to look at how we are growing up in our cultures, in our societies, in our school systems. It is always about the outside authority, someone else guiding us, someone else knowing what is right for us, what we need to do. And this is the era that we are coming pretty much out from, right? So it's the era of the tribe, sacrificing our needs and ourselves for the greater good of the tribe and of the community. And since our cultures are not just about outside authorities, they're also about logic, about the mental understanding. You will not in your school system, other than maybe your regular sports classes, have ever had a class that teaches you about the body, other than maybe biology, and that's about our organs and how everything functions. But we have never been really taught to connect to our bodies. And then, of course, there was always the influence of media. Back in the days, there were newspapers and magazines, right? We didn't have social media and internet. And today it's the social media. So we are always giving this picture of what a perfect body looks like, what a woman especially should look like, how she should feel like. And all these outside influences and information are bringing us further and further away from our body. Because we are trying to process logically and mentally someone else's information. Yeah, so this is where it also goes back to trusting ourselves. How can you trust yourself when you don't even know what is yours?
But this is difficult to trust yourself. That's why maybe a lot of people actually neglecting that feeling, because it's easier when you actually can explain it to yourself why why exactly you're doing that, rather than you are just doing something by your feeling. You don't
Yeah.
have any proof that something is going to turn good, but at the same time, you have a lot of possibilities that it can happen.
Absolutely. But you see, it's not about a war or a battle between the mind and the body. It's coherence.
Yeah.
So it's having the mind, the body, and the soul speaking the same language. But we usually have our mind speaking German, our body speaking Mandarin,
Yeah.
and then we wonder why we can't connect both, right? So it's about merging those two together. We
Yeah.
do need the logic in our lives to apply it to certain situations. However, there is much more that we don't know, And the cells in our body store that information.
Yeah.
And that goes back to our ancestors, that goes back to many lifetimes, whether people believe in this or not, it doesn't matter. It is still ingrained in us. So connecting to our body, it requires one big factor, and that is to slow down. And that
Yeah.
is to listen. And this is very hard for people in a culture where we are so goal driven and just go, 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 do the next. Nothing is ever enough. Nothing is ever good enough.
Right.
When is it actually really enough? Until our body breaks down.
Yeah. They say that actually this is almost the last call from your higher self to tell you that
Yes.
you are doing something wrong. And that's why we have this
Yes.
science.
The truth is, our bodies are freaking machines. They are really
Yeah.
machines. If you imagine what our body is going through, what our body is fighting for us every single day, then you will really understand the sacredness of it and the power of it. And the body constantly gives and sends signals. If you look especially at our nervous system and all the cells, all the way down to those tiniest atoms, they are sending out information and we are receiving information.
Yeah.
But we cannot understand this information or even listen to it if we don't slow down. And a lot of people are trying to avoid to slow down because
Yeah.
they're afraid of what they might have to listen to. Because now when you slow down, you have to actually face your emotions.
Yeah.
You have to face how your body is feeling. And you have to face the truth that is really trying to emerge within you. And it's all about the emotional health in particular in your body, because what are emotions? They're messengers.
Yeah.
But we tend to shoot the messengers. However, the message remains. So when we listen to our body, when we slow really down, when we tune within, then we will notice what the body actually wants to say. And this is when we can begin to change, to heal, and to really have this connection with our body that we need.
In your opinion, what would be the best ways to slow down? How people can, even nowadays, there are so many retreats and this way of living. It's increasing. The interest is increasing from people. How to tap to yourself, how to feel yourself, how to find this connection. But at the same time, it's becoming a little bit too commercial. Yes, in a way, where they just get the people, they do some rituals, some things which have nothing to do with really tapping in. Because when you are really connecting to yourself and to your emotions, you can find a lot of darkness, and not everyone who arrange those events, they can really help you go through this darkness. Because we are not only lights, we are light and dark. And a lot of times we, again, don't want to see the darkness within us. We just try to close our eyes and see only the light. And then when we are trying to, again, connect to ourselves, what we are doing, we are going and we are just highlighting the light within us.
It's so much easier, isn't it?
It's so much easier. And then you come back 1 week, maybe you're hyped up, you're fine. But then at the same time, after 1 week, everything comes back. Or maybe even worse, because you, in a way, you could bring up something within yourself. You didn't have anyone by your side who could guide you through that. And then you end up being destroyed because you just don't know what to do with that. Then you kind of think that, okay, I did my best. I tried to slow down. I tried to tap in. I tried to understand myself. And you're coming back and it's getting worse. Or your life start changing. Things start happening in your life. People living your life. Changes in work. Changes in your life. And you don't understand what to do with that. You feel that it's getting worse. But is it always getting worse?
What does it even mean getting worse, right? It's very subjective. It's our perception of something getting worse. But what is actually getting worse is only that our body is screaming louder, that our
Yeah.
inner knowing is screaming louder. And you said something beautiful about guidance. It is amazing to go to all of those retreats, and
Yeah.
it's amazing to have everything here, and it's becoming, yes, also commercial, unfortunately, but on the other side, there's a lot of options for people to choose from. However, you need to always look who you are going to. You have to have the right mentors, the right
Yeah.
guides, people who have gone through this themselves.
Yes.
Because how can someone guide you through something they have not experienced? You see, embodiment is all about experienced or experience integrated.
Yeah.
It's one thing to mentally understand a concept or an idea, but it's another to really have experienced it, and now it's part of who you are in your being. Those are two very different things. And it's not about what you do one time. You can go to 10 retreats a year. It's about what you do every day.
Exactly.
It's the everyday life that we need to look at, right? So the little things, it may seem little and you may think, oh, what is this going to do? But it has a compounding effect, a snowball effect. So like snowballs, they are small and then they become bigger and bigger and bigger as they roll. So it's about every day, no matter how stressful it gets, everybody has 1 minute or 2 minutes. When you're on the toilet, minimum you have that 1 minute, okay, to really become aware, take a deep breath, and consciously tune within your body and ask it how it feels. Ask it what it needs. You have to imagine your body as a person. I think that's the easiest analogy I can give sometimes, because we think it's us, we
Yeah.
don't need to pay attention. We think because it's within, okay, it's nothing that I need to pay attention to now, I can do that later. But let's say when it's another person that needs you,
Yeah.
you will straight away go and help.
Yeah, exactly.
Very few people will say no. So you need to look at your body as perhaps an energy, a separate energy that is you, that needs you. Even though it's you, but sometimes to start, it helps to see it as something, someone that needs your help, that needs your awareness and your attention in the moment. What do you need? And then it's not just about asking the right questions, it's also about acting on it.
Exactly. It's not only
Yeah.
theory, it's actually practice.
It's practice. Theory doesn't get you anywhere. It's practice.
You
And
can talk the talk, but you have to walk the walk.
you have to walk the talk, talk
Yeah,
the
you
walk,
talk
you know, walking,
You
talking.
really have to do that.
Yeah.
It can be tough sometimes for people who don't have discipline.
Yeah.
It can be tough.
But you see, we have to train ourselves.
Yeah, but it's also what you
Yeah.
do, because some people, they feel, oh, you know what it can do for me if I just sit there and listen to myself. And actually it might be easy, but it's not as easy as it seems, because
No.
when you sit there and you disconnect from everything and you connect to yourself, a lot of thoughts might come which you not necessarily will like.
Yeah.
And then you get maybe scared even, and you think, oh no, I'm not going to do that anymore. But again, what you're doing, what practices, it's not necessary only for you to sit and to be silent. Maybe for some people who just start a journey, it can be something easier, something what can guide them to the state where they can actually sit and really listen to themselves.
You see, you need to understand what works for you. Not everyone is the same. Like, it's similar to meditation. Meditation isn't you just sitting there
No.
and closing your eyes and, okay, now I'm there. Meditation can be sports. Meditation
Yeah.
can be dancing. Meditation can be a walk on the beach. It can be hiking. It can be even having a podcast, having a
Yeah.
conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
So notice what is the easiest way for you to connect.
Yeah.
Some people need someone else to guide them through the process, and others are really good in doing that for themselves. So you need to understand what works for you. What is easier? It's not an easy process, and this is why not everybody is doing it. But at the same time, you're talking about you, and you are taking you all your life. Your body, you have only one.
Yeah.
You can change your car, you can change your house, you can change your clothes, freaking almost everything. You cannot change your body in a way that you can jump into another body. I'm saying, of course,
Yeah.
you can do plastic surgery, but that's different. So you have to begin to understand that this is your home. And everything that's inside of it, energetically, especially, is something that can negatively affect you or positively. So it's time you start turning inside. And even if there's something you don't like, instead of running from it,
Yeah.
face it.
It's tough. Because
This
a
is
lot of
it.
times we are our own worst enemy.
Yeah.
We are the first person who will say, no, why would you start doing this? Why would you go and do that? There are hundreds of other people who are better than you. They can do it better. Or even maybe you think, oh, meditation is not for me. I'm not able to see it, or sport is not for me. So it's really difficult for people to tap into that, even support yourself
Yeah.
at trying something new.
Follow your preference. This is the first step. That's why I said, what is easier for your preference? It's like liking ice cream chocolate more than ice cream vanilla or strawberry or something else. It is similar. There's a reason why you like one over the other, which taste can change, right?
It's actually good when you start even, choosing between two. You have chocolate
Yes.
or vanilla ice cream. Which one I like? I feel myself. Okay, right now
Yes.
I feel I want chocolate, and you really go for
Yes.
chocolate, because maybe sometimes you feel like, oh, I always like chocolate, but then at the moment you really want something else, and you follow
Yes.
your habits,
You
and you
follow the
just
habits.
then one day after another day you are betraying yourself.
All the time. And it's so funny because we talk so much about boundaries. Boundaries aren't for other people how to treat you.
Yeah.
Boundaries are for you, how you treat yourself and how you allow others in that sense as well to treat you, but they're for you. Because boundaries are based on values. So you need to understand, what are your values? What is important for you? And then check with yourself, how many times a day do I break my own values? Let's say honesty is a value for you, and you want people to be honest to you. And you're trying also to be honest as much as you can to others. But how many times do you lie to yourself a day?
Exactly, yeah.
Saying no when you mean yes,
Yes,
and yes when you mean no. Like, it starts with those small things. So when someone asks you, are you okay? And you're not, and you say, yeah.
I'm okay, yeah.
Just saying, I'm not okay, but I'm going to be. So we have
It's
such a
amazing.
hard time doing that. And that's why I'm saying it's the small things a
You're
day
right.
that matter, that you do for yourself.
I agree 100%. I had my own experiences like that. That's how I started, step by step, trying to listen to myself, to my body. Listen, what do I want at this moment? Do I want to have water? Or even sometimes you want to drink and you're neglecting that. You are not doing that. You want to go to washroom, you're not going to washroom because you just sit there and do something else.
Yeah.
That's actually, you are betraying yourself. You're stepping on your own boundaries. How are you expecting other people to respect your boundaries? And then we go in the world and we are facing all these people who are not appreciating us or doing things which hurt us. But then we start from ourselves.
It's always about the self. This is what we need to understand. Everything in this world is about the self. This is why people, when they speak so much about selfishness, well, we are all selfish. There is no other way, because it starts from the self. So this is, again, what I was referring to earlier, this tribal instincts of pleasing others, just in order to belong. We are getting away from that. It's all now about individuality and sovereignty. And it doesn't mean we are going to walk around like some selfish bastards, not care about people around us. No. But it means that we are able to discern when we are really doing something for someone else because they need us, versus where we need now really time for ourselves to honor what we need in that moment.
But then, in this way, sometimes when you have friends, for example, family members, and you needed some help, they helped you. And then at other moment, they need your help. But at that exactly moment, you feel like you don't really have energy. And it is really difficult to say no at that moment, because you want to protect your own boundaries because you're not feeling well. You don't have energy for that. But then these people, they were helping you, and you saying no at that moment, it's very sensitive how you manage to present it to another person in a way where you can explain that it's not because I don't love you, it's just because I don't have enough energy right now. I'm going for something. I don't have ability to help you.
Exactly as you said it. We need to learn. One of the arts we have really lost is the art of communication.
Yeah.
And when I say communication, I mean open and honest and vulnerable communication. We live in a time of social media, right? People are
Yeah.
communicating all day long, but what are we communicating? So when it's especially in a very sensitive situation, like within a family dynamic or in a partnership, it's very important, as you said, to mention that you would love to help, but that at this moment you are not okay. At this moment you need time for yourself. And as soon as you have figured this out, you're going to be there for them. It is important that people understand that we want to be there for them, but that we also respect our time. And this is where we lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if we want the dynamics to change, we need to be these dynamics.
Yeah.
And someone's got to start.
You have to start from yourself, definitely. If you want to change the world, you can't
Yes.
expect the world to change
Yeah.
unless you
Yeah.
did a change
So
yourself.
it's being honest. You know, people feel the frequency of honesty and they feel the frequency of someone being genuine. It's not just about being honest and rude to somebody and throwing words to hurt them. It's about really being genuine with what we say. And there's something in the energy match that others pick up on. So sometimes they might still be upset because they feel they're like now obliged to receive that help from you.
Yeah.
But this is then on their end. This is something they have to deal with. And this is something where you should also not take it personal. Your role is to communicate honestly, to find a balance for yourself. Because when your cup is full in that sense, you can not necessarily give to others because you have nothing to give.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes the analogy of an empty cup is actually better.
Yeah.
Because when your cup is empty, you have space, you can fill it.
Yeah.
So again, we need to begin to learn to communicate honestly because we live in a world still where everyone is easily triggered.
Yes.
Everyone is offended quickly, super hypersensitive. We need to cut that BS out and we need to really begin to have real talk with ourselves. Why are we like this?
Yeah. And again,
Yeah.
we are coming back to the topic, being connected to yourself.
Yes.
Feel the moment you will feel it. Like everyone have this feeling. I'm 100% sure. It's just that we're so much neglecting it.
Yeah.
And I was there as well. I was neglecting a lot of times. I would blame other people for doing something wrong to me, whether it was not them, it was me doing wrong to
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And then once I realized that the world around me is my mirror, it became easier. And I start listening. I start tapping in, understanding, okay, what do I want?
Yeah.
Is it me, really? Or it's the world around, or just the world around responding to me within myself? And then I start using all the techniques and meditations and everything. So it's like a everyday ritual currently for me to have that in my life, because without that, in this crazy world, I don't know how you can stay really balanced if you don't use anything to calm yourself down, to calm your nervous system down.
It is really a journey.
It
You know,
is.
I used to be in my 20s a very quick, angry bird.
Yeah.
You know, I have Balkan blood in me. So
Yeah.
if someone would piss me off, oh my goodness, they would feel
Balkan
it.
blood, but raised in Germany.
Yeah, but raised in Germany, right? So double trouble, right? So I used to be very quick in being really angry with somebody.
Yeah.
And I learned to also control, not just control, but understand also the anger I was carrying and to understand, was it really my anger? It's not about, you know, not taking responsibility. We need to take responsibility for our emotions, but we have no idea how much of what we carry is not actually even ours.
Yeah.
We pick it up from the collective. We pick it up, you know, through situations, and then it's in us. And instead of transmuting it, we are identifying with it. And that's the problem. You are not your anger, but your anger is there because it wants to tell you something.
Yeah.
So it is a constant checking in with yourself, but you see, you reach a tipping point. In the beginning, you start every day with these practices. And as you say, you need a ritual, you need things that, you know, help you center, help you balance. But once you reach this tipping point, you're in it. And then having rituals or having to do this daily isn't even required anymore because you are it. And then when you go through fluctuations in life, let's say something happens, because shit does happen in life, then if you feel that the need to do it, you can use certain practices. Yeah, you can use certain meditations, go for a walk, whatever. For me, for example, when I feel imbalanced, I know I need to go for a walk.
Yeah.
I know I need to move my body. This is me. If my body doesn't move, the emotions just, like crumble up
Yeah.
like a ball, and then they do their own show there. So I know, okay, I'm not feeling all right now. I'm not aligned with myself. I need to go for a walk. And then you know what I do? I have my phone, my voice memos, and I am my own therapist.
Yeah.
I talk to myself. Things that sometimes we wouldn't share with anybody, right? So
Makes lots of
I
sense,
record everything, really everything. And you cannot imagine the amount of revelations I had
Yeah.
just to talking to myself out
It's
loud.
like when you write an, diary, you have a diary, but it's
Yes.
just the voice diary, and then it's easier when you're walking. How many
Yes.
times when you talk on the phone, even you are walking around
Yeah.
in circles because you make this energy move and it's getting easier.
Yes.
I understand you. I support 100%. I also go for a walk, but I love connect with nature, like to walk bare feet in the sand, in the sea, just through the
Yes.
through the sea line, and it's amazing. This is something a lot of people are missing again in their life. Because nowadays we're all in these boxes, we wear shoes, we disconnect ourselves, we have electronics everywhere, and it affects everyone as well in terms of disconnecting yourself from your feeling, because you have constant disruption around you. You don't even go to walk bare feet on the grass or on the sand.
Yeah.
You don't really even understand the structure of what you're eating, the taste. You don't feel the texture of the materials around you. It becomes like on the background.
Yeah. This is when you're not connected, when you're not present. This is also where sensuality comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So this is sensuality. Oh, it's so soft,
so
or
soft.
when you can
start
enjoy.
having goosebumps when it's nice. You feel it.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the techniques when you want to become in the moment.
Yeah. Touch something.
Touch something and feel its texture.
Feel its texture or smell. Close your eyes, smell. Right?
It's amazing.
There's so many things you can use to really connect. And as I say, in the beginning, we used tools, but it's something that was always in us.
Yeah, exactly. We just
forgot. We forgot, and life gets busy. But this is why I say we have to, it's a remembrance again.
Yeah, exactly. You're reminding yourself.
Yeah. Deconditioning, and then it's like you're there. You're really there. And of course, then you go until the next, let's say, hurdle comes. But by the time something next comes, you already know what to do because you're so connected.
Would you give any other tips?
To what? To connect to the body?
When you have something, you're very stressful, you feel you're not yourself, you're nervous.
You know what I do?
Else?
What helps me?
What?
I allow myself to feel it.
Well, that's another thing.
This is a life savior. Whether I'm anxious, something happened that disappointed me, because we're not an island, we interact with others. And sometimes people do things that hurt us, right? Or don't make us feel good. I always sit with it. And maybe I feel like crying, maybe I feel like running, maybe I feel like a crazy person screaming. It doesn't matter, but I allow myself to feel it. And sometimes it takes an hour, sometimes it takes just a few minutes. Sometimes I have it on and off for days. But I realized for myself, and this is again knowing yourself, that my body needs that. My emotion, I have an emotional authority, so which means my emotions will fluctuate.
Yeah.
And once I sit with them, they can actually do what they need to do, which means they are working through you.
Yeah, exactly. You let them go through your body. You let them leave. You sit with it. You feel it. You try to understand what exactly it is saying to you.
Yeah.
Because when you feel something, let's say someone upsets you, hurts you, and you go there in the world and you pretend like, no, everything is okay. And then you feel in your heart like you have a hole, something is really bleeding there, it's hurting you, but you go and you smile. What happens next? You suppress the feeling, the emotion of sadness, of anger, whatever it is. And then the high chances it will turn up to be some sickness in the future.
Yes.
We are storing, because since we were kids, a lot of times you will have a situation where your parents will tell you, don't cry, why are you doing this, why are you doing that? Just never mind, it doesn't matter. and you learn to store those emotions. You learn to keep them somewhere, but they are staying somewhere. They don't go anywhere. So that means that you're storing them in a container of your body. And then when you're like 25, 30, 40 years old, you're trying to tap in, but you have to go through all the stored emotions first.
Yeah. They are messengers. This is how I see, when you sit with them, you can ask them, what is your message? And sometimes you don't get the answer, and that's also okay.
Yeah.
It's not always for us to have an answer. Sometimes it's really just feeling it. And when you do this a couple of times, so basically you're practicing on yourself.
Well, this is what you can do actually daily.
Yes, exactly. And then you will notice how your body processes them.
Yeah.
And once you're on the other side, you're like, oh, I can breathe. Oh my goodness. But you come to the other side with so much clarity. And what this builds is incredible trust in yourself.
Yeah.
And that is really such a powerful, powerful thing to have. I think people don't realize when we trust ourselves with the smallest things in life, then we can not just do anything, but we can also face everything. And when we trust ourselves, we are honest with ourselves. And when we are honest with ourselves, we are honest with our environment. So it's like a chain reaction. But sitting with uncomfortable feelings in particular, it's not difficult to sit with the feeling of joy or love, right? I mean, everybody can do that. But sitting with sadness, with disappointment, with bitterness, frustration, this is when you work through them. So what maybe took you before, let's say, a week to go through, now might take you a few hours, maybe a day. So it speeds up the process, and you realign much quicker back to your center. And when you do that, is you train your nervous system as well, that it's safe to be you. You're safe in your body. So with that, your mind doesn't play any tricks, because your nervous system signals that the body is safe. Why? Because you sit with it. You don't feel threatened by it. And this is when you can really connect to the body, and the mind is not even there. You will not even hear your mind.
Right.
So it often works in the paradox of what we have been taught to do, right? So when you can practice this every day, just get to know yourself. It's like you're going on a date with somebody. But in this case, you go on a date with yourself.
Listen to yourself. Make friends with those feelings.
Yes.
They're not nice, but they are yours.
But they're yours. They don't hurt
They're
anybody.
part of you.
Yeah.
They were given to you, like you said, messengers.
Yeah.
To feel something, to understand something, to realize something about yourself first, which again, so many times we try to blame on others, but those people, they just come to us to show us something about ourselves.
And you see, we are here in this human experience to experience everything.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole point. You are here to experience joy and sadness and pleasure and all of those things. Of course, eventually your core frequency will switch, will go up, but you will still experience them to some extent. So, you know, in astrology, the messenger is Hermes, Mercury.
Yeah.
And who is Hermes? He's a messenger of the gods, so divinity. So our messages, our emotions are part of our divinity in this body, in this physical body. So when we neglect them, we neglect that part of us, right? So that's how I say we always need to understand how everything is connected, and that nothing is really here to harm you, but it's here to teach you about you.
Yeah, right. You shouldn't be afraid of it.
No.
I think when you think about that and you telling sit first, you can feel a bit scared about that, because how it is, you know, we're all trying in this life to do something to live happy life without problems, without issues. You have like, I don't know how many zeros in your bank account, you have happy family, house, everything, you travel. So we're always having this direction of moving towards the happiness and enjoyment. And then you're saying someone, okay, you have to sit now and think about all the anger you're experiencing and all these emotions which are not pleasant.
Yeah.
People start feeling scared.
Yeah, but they're not going anywhere unless you address them. This is something
Yeah,
people don't understand.
This
is the trick. They are going. They're like a companion you don't want around, but it's like following you.
It's like they say the backpack which is carrying you down. Unless you unload it, it's not going to go away. But also, when talking about the childhood, you know, for girls, I think it's a bit easier rather for men, because for men, we have this idea of men never cry, men never, you should not react. So I really hope that we have more and more people who can guide men. And actually, I know that you are doing that as well. You help women and men
And
to
couples.
go and couples, yes, to go through this unloading of the emotions which they're carrying within. It can take sometimes long time. Sometimes for some people, maybe it takes, as you said, it can take 1 month. For someone, can be longer. But at the end, the feeling you have when you're processing all of that, it's just something incredible.
And one thing I really want to mention is that we are all different.
Yeah.
Everybody's so unique, and what destroys this body connection often is also the comparison to others, what works for others.
Yeah, exactly.
And what doesn't work for you. So sometimes you watch other people, like I know when I started my journey and everyone is like, do this meditation, try this. None of this stuff worked for me. And I was like, why does it work for everybody else? And I thought I was doing something wrong. Whereas no, I wasn't connected with what I needed. I was listening to what was working for others. So I stopped all of this and I said, okay, this is maybe why it also doesn't work for a lot of people as well, because we are not listening to ourselves. We have a unique energy system and how it operates. For some people, it's that emotional part where we need days to work through emotions. For others, it's the instant knowing. And it can be both as well, but it depends on the situation. So again, we are not an enigma to figure out. It's really not that complicated. Yeah, it's when we remove all these complicated half teachings out there and we tune within, we will realize, hey, we got it all. You just have to trust. So the connection to the body is strongly linked to trust. You will have a hard time connecting to your body if you don't trust your body, and vice versa.
But yeah, it's amazing how our mind and body works together, and how we have all the keys and we have all the options to make it better, to live better life, and be at the same time aligned with ourselves. It's not necessary only for you to show the picture to others and pretend to yourself that, oh, okay, it doesn't really matter for me. No, if you feel that it matters, if you feel that you have this anger, you feel you're suppressing something, acknowledge that for your own sake.
Yeah, and a lot of women have a lot of anger.
Yeah,
especially women, way more than men. Even we associate it as an aggressive testosterone thing. It's actually more the dark feminine, the dark waters, the women in particular.
Which are so suppressed because of society and because how we were taught not to react, because woman has to be quiet, woman has to smile, woman has to take care of everything. So we are suppressing this fiery side of ourselves. But that's some topic which can be discussed for another hour.
We
really,
need a whole hour for that.
It's something I would really want to bring up as well, because this is very important for the woman. Because in our society, how everything turned up for women, it just it's not always fair, the way women are treated, the way we are not able to express ourselves. And again, everything comes back to essential thing, connecting to your body, whatever it is, woman, it's man, kids. And I think we have to really teach kids from childhood. And you are talking about that in your Instagram profile as well, that kids are actually, we have to learn from them.
It's the other way around. We learn from them because they are so connected, man. When I look at my nephews, I don't have kids yet, but when I look at them, I'm like, damn. And they even connect you more.
Yes.
So that would be actually another thing, is spend time with children.
Yes, exactly.
I forgot that. How did I forget that?
So we have at least few now.
Yeah.
Reality checks, let's say it this way. Yeah. When you feel that you want to be in a moment, to slow down, try to touch something, feel the texture, how it feels. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it metal? Is it wood or material? Then what was else?
Then you can focus on one thing. You can focus on an image, We can focus, zoom in, like we zoom in, zoom out
and
every day.
and check all the details, right?
And just focus on one thing, like for example, that picture or that thing here on the table, and you just focus on it. And you will see how you zoom out completely. It's what usually happens in the elevator. It's just now we have the phones.
Exactly. By the way, phones are very distracting.
Yes.
We feel that we are actually distracting from the world, but we are distracting ourselves from ourselves when we are on the phone.
Exactly.
That's another thing. Don't ever think that phones are tricky.
Phones are tricky. Then the other thing is check in with yourself consciously every day how you feel. Just ask yourself, how are you feeling? Like, how are you really feeling right now?
Right.
And wait what comes to you. Don't expect something to come to you in a certain way. Just allow it to be there. And observe. Don't judge, don't identify, don't suppress. Just allow it to be present. Then the other is move your body. Move, really.
Find your own way of meditation. Yes. I would say it this way.
Your own way.
If you cannot sit for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, don't. Just go for a walk, go to jogging, dance, anything. Can be. Some people, they feel meditation when they're driving.
Oh, yeah, actually, it's one of the most meditative states, by the way, is meditation. It's also when you get a lot of downloads.
Don't go on traffic, please. When it's traffic jam,
but don't start with that. Let's focus on things.
When you first start working on your judgment, then you slowly go into the meditation.
Yeah.
So at least a few points we highlighted today, which can help us and everyone else who listened to that podcast to bring them back to the moment, to live through the emotion, to not store it, and then get out of that feeling with fresh head, calm hearts.
Yes.
And a smile on the face.
It really isn't that complicated. It's actually really easy. We just I think we are so programmed to believe that things have to be hard for them to be valuable. And that's a problem because
it's like you have to work hard to get something. It's really not.
It's not. And this is also where we are shifting, which again is a whole nother topic, but it's meant to be fun. It's not always fun in life, yes, but overall it's meant to be fun. So take it easy on yourself, really, and have patience with yourself as well. And know that you're here on a journey. You're not born with a handbook on how is Anastasia functioning, how Anita functioning.
Just give it a bit more love to yourself, but in the right way, not only neglecting and concentrating on the lights. Just love to the parts which you feel they are dark, they're not nice. It's also important. That's exactly how actually Anita, she can help you do that. So I will be really happy if you check her profile and subscribe. And she's an amazing mentor, person who can guide you through all these darkness sides of yourself. And thank you very much, Anita, for this talk. It was an amazing first experience for me. So it's just beginning of the journey. I'm really, really grateful and appreciate a lot for you to be here today.
Thank you so much for having me on your first podcast. It's an honor, and I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you.
To many more to come.
Yes. I really hope we're going to have a series of talks with Anita because we have so much to discuss, and she has just, I think she's like a source, you can tap in, and she was just giving you information. The channel, unstoppable.
Definitely unstoppable, but I also got here through my fair share of pain and grief in life as well, right? So I think this is what makes people also credible. That's
why you're so valuable, because you experienced that, you lived it, and you live what you preach. So
thank you, Anastasia.